And hello, welcome to the Ghana Agenda. I don't know if you can hear me. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and today we have a very packed show for you today. I would be talking to my regular panelists, and we are discussing Development Bank Ghana, and we are also looking at the insecurity in Ghana, state of insecurity in Ghana. So I'll be joined by Paul Disosu of the NDC and Emmanuel Daku of the MPP. I think my sound is about to go off shortly. So let me take a quick break. And what I'll do is come back, check the green room to see if my guests are there, and we'll get into the conversation. So today, again, we're talking about Development Bank Ghana, which is the bank that the government of Ghana is about to initiate to extend loans to small and micro enterprises in Ghana. And we are talking also about insecurity, journalists under attack. And the government seems to be covering for those journalists, for those security personnel who are abusing our journalists. We'll be right back to address the vast matters. Please stay tuned if you haven't already done so. Share the link, tell a friend to tell a friend. The Ghana Agenda is live on this May 22nd, 2021. We will be right back.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid health insurance program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, ya baby, aka ya Vandam. And me di feel a boozing pan and to see one bridge with your money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sandy provisions as a sutra credit Emma Ebusia Fona and the form one Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let chow provisions in credit na really ankasa. I have friend numbers na screen na Ghana Mat ye crano.
Hello, welcome back to the show. Again, my name is Alfred Amuzu, and today we are talking about Development Bank Ghana. What does that mean? And why is that important at this time? It's pretty hot out here today, so you can see me sweating already. And I'm going to be sweating to this program. I already know it. But I am waiting for my guests to join the show so we can actually start this conversation. But for a background, so Ghana has actually toyed with the idea of development banks before. Why is that necessary? Currently, we have all-in commercial banks. Two banks that were started as development bank actually switched to commercial activities. In other words, they started lending. And the ones that I'm talking about are the National Investment Bank, which was the first to be established as a development bank in Ghana. Matter of fact, my understanding is it actually stretches beyond even the country becoming Ghana. It was something that was started when we were under our colonial masters. And when we became independent at some point in 1965 or so, we converted it into a national investment bank. Now, what is the role of a development bank? A development bank exists to lend money to businesses on a long-term basis. In other words, what we currently have in the countries where the commercial banks where, the credit facilities they provide are short-term based. In other words, you can only get up to about 2 to 3 years. You can't get a loan for more than 5 years. You can't, certainly get a loan for more than 10%. So this current government has backed on what we call, or what they term, 1D, 1F, which is a way to industrialize. And you would think that prior to that they will have a way to implement a robust financial system to support these small businesses. But, better late than never, right? So now the idea came up, and the president, in his wisdom, has decided that it is about time that Ghana would put up a solid investment bank or a development bank to support especially the agro-processing industry or the agro-business industry. Currently, lending to private sector, to businesses, has actually significantly dropped from where it was in 2018, which is about some 15%, to about 10% in 12% in 2019, and now 10%. That is also because the banks in the country are risk adverse. In other words, they will rather, invest their money into treasury bills versus lending to businesses. So we'll look at all this. And to help me do that, I have my regular panelists in studio. And so far I'm joined by Mr. Emmanuel Dako. Emmanuel actually represents the MPP on this program, and he's a branch treasurer, as I understand it, at North Carolina. Emmanuel is also a certified public accountant and a certified information systems auditor. Emmanuel, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alfred, and good to come back, and greetings to you. I know you are fired up for today.
I'm telling you, Emmanuel, I'm sweating so hard. I don't know how the weather is up here.
It's very hot here.
It's very hot, right? Yeah, so that explains me my sweating. But in any case, we also have Paul DeSosu. Emmanuel, I think I'm picking up feedback from you. But in any case, we also have Paul DeSosu of the NDC Massachusetts branch. Paul actually joined us. He dropped off briefly, but he would be joining us again. And I'll bring Paul on and introduce him as appropriate. But as I've already reiterated or said, we are talking about Ghana Development Bank and whether it is necessary. So as I was telling you the story of the back in the background, NIB, which was the first attempt at such an institution, operated for years. Okay, so we have Paul in the studio as well. Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. So we have our NDC counterpart, which is Paul DeSosu from Massachusetts. He's a systems engineer. And Paul, your position is the secretary of the party in Massachusetts, or did I get that right?
Yeah, you are right.
I'm right. Okay, great. So, Paul, we have you, we have Emmanuel, so we are ready to go. I have tabled the two topics that we'll be discussing today, which is the Development Bank Ghana, for which the president went to Belgium and secured, that's the term they use, secured 117 million euros to support the implementation of the bank. In fact, so far, they've also gotten $250 million from the World Bank. So far, the government has raised $500 million towards this bank. This bank is going to operate under the Development Finance Institutions Law, which was just passed in August of 2020. We discussed that law on this program the last time we addressed this topic. And we know that this bank would be lending money to commercial banks to onwards lend to SMEs. And I'm sure you would be helping me discuss all that. We have videos of the Minister of Finance discussing the merits, how this organization is going to operate, etc., etc. So, Joe, I'm going to stop talking, but do you have any preliminary comments over all the things that happened in the week? I know several things happened. We know the EC came out and gave some directives, released a statement after an IPAC meeting, making proposals for how the next election, which is the 2024 election, will be run. They're trying to shorten the voting time from currently 5 p.m. to 3 p.m. In other words, polls will now be, their proposal is that they will close, polls at 3 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. And we'll get into that if time allowed. And also, I know that the Minister of National Security came out with a presser about the actions they would take against the military personnel who've been alleged to have abused one of CD FM's journalists in person, Caleb Kuda. And also, there's a prominent member of the NDC who has resigned, and I'll be asking Paul Disosu some questions about that. So do you have any preliminary comments about any of the things that I've just discussed, or anything that happened within the week that you'd like to share with us, or just preliminary comments before we get into the program?
Hey, Alfred, I can go?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, greetings to our viewers too, those who are joining us in various platforms. I know this week has been a lot of fun week for Ghana, and there has been a lot of concern. But in all, I think Ghana, we are still on right path. I know, and I think you missed this one, the COVID-19, the second dose, also come into the play. But the easy one, I think the only comment I want to, I want to hear.
Oh, sorry, I think we may have lost it real quick. You said the easy one.
The easy one. So if we have a part meeting and you decide not to go, and a decision has been made, how do you want to disagree with the decision whilst you were not there to express your own opinion?
Right.
And I know for me, the EC in its own wisdom felt like 3 p.m. is convenient because of the layers of going to the constituency from the polling station collation, constituency collation, regional collation, and national collation, which is a very, very time consuming. And, and I know 2020, I was in Ghana during the election, and I saw it. The timeline, like the only challenge will be maybe some remote areas. The early start, maybe we don't get the time to start. That one is a challenge. To start it on time is a challenge in some areas.
But to get it close, gets to the right places on time for.
Yes, and because of the logistic reasons, and the areas also are very, very remote. Some of them they have to take a boat. Some of them they have to take a bike. The roads networks too very bad. But the early start. But you realize that people don't show up in the polls. Some people come early, and then it comes at the end. I was at the time we were doing observation. We were going around. We were in a voter region. I was in the whole West, Chito. The areas that we were going, you realize that around 12 o'clock, nobody was even at the police station. Basically, it was 1 or 2 people, and they were just sitting there. And then, then you look at the time of utilization and resources. You can put data together and realize that, okay, we have to find ways, because that normally is a public holiday some way, somehow, or is a day of not working, and people have traveled. So it's best to push people, get in early, get it out, so that we can count, and everybody can be able to watch at that daytime. Especially the timeline too is very key, because you don't want to go through the day. The night, that's when the problem comes. The atrocities normally occur. For in my own wisdom, DC stand in the position to do the best for Ghanaians. And I know people, my people are saying that it's disenfranchised. How is it disenfranchised when you are giving people the opportunity to vote, and at least you are giving them a timeline to vote on it? So I think it will help with transparency. It will help with the count, so that we will not eat up into the night. And where something goes wrong, and Ghana, most of the place are by 5 o'clock is getting dark. 6 o'clock is already dark. So I think after you are on meet, I think the EC is on right path, but I would have hoped that NDC was in that meeting to voice out their concern.
All right, we have an NDC rep here, so he's going to tell us why they are not there. Before we go on, Mr. Dr. Edward Ofori is watching us live on YouTube. We also have a comment here from Gideon Sule, who says, "Hey, Akufo-Addo, what of the banks that you collapsed Where are the money? Say, in other words, for all the bands, where is the money? So, hey, thanks for that comment, Mr. Gideon. Now, Paul, what I've asked, Emma to do is just kind of give us preliminary comments on some of the things we observed over the week. And some of which are the fact that, we know Stephen Tuguba, who's of the NDC, actually retired or resigned from the party, which chances are we may have Steve on the show next week. God willing. He's working with us to join the show. Also, things like, the security issues, which will be going into details, but also we know that the electoral commissioner, met with IPAC, and at the end of that meeting, a communique was released with proposals and some of the achievements. The NDC was not present, obviously, and some of the proposals is that the plan is for the 2024 election that the polls would be closed at 3 p.m. instead of the regular 5 p.m. which you currently go through. What are your preliminary comments on these issues before we get into the meat of our discussions today?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Amuzu, and then I just want to say hello to my friend Emmanuel. It's unfortunate that Emmanuel. Before I start, for FYI, I took the second shot this afternoon, and I'm not feeling too good.
Very well. Okay.
Asked Dr. Lawrence. Dr. Lawrence will be joining us very soon, and I'll drop off as soon as he joins.
Great.
Yeah. But I would stay on until he joins, then I'll drop off.
Okay.
My preliminary comments. Look, in the first place, let me deal with the issue with Emmanuel, the comment Emmanuel passed about the NDC not being at IPAC, and it's an issue that we should not stand out and talk, and that closing poll at 3 o'clock is normal and all the stuff. This is the hypocrisy of the MPP I keep on talking about.
Right.
Let's understand things clear. If Emmanuel was in Ghana and he went around and at 12 o'clock, people are finished voting. We have 38,000 polling stations in Ghana. I expect the Electoral Commission, as super incompetent as they are, at least, if they want to come out to put those statements out, they should back it with data.
Right.
They should have come out and tell us that out of the 38,000 police stations we have in Ghana, 16,000 of them finished voting before 4 o'clock.
Okay.
13,000 of them finished voting before 12 o'clock. X amount of them finished voting before so. So therefore, based upon the data that we have, we are proposing to close at 3.
Right.
And even that is not enough. You cannot even base your assertion on just one election you conducted to come to a conclusion that you want to close polls at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, but he's saying this is an IPAC suggestion. This is not proposal from the EC. This is from IPAC.
Whether it's from IPAC or it's from the EC, the EC is just using those mushroom parties in IPAC to do their bidding.
Right.
And I am saying over here that we should be intellectuals this afternoon. Let's speak on facts.
Right.
Emmanuel, yourself, myself, and all the people listening to us know that before you can drill down to come out to make a conclusive determination, you need to back it with data.
Okay.
The question I am asking this afternoon, which Emmanuel is supporting, whether it's the IPAC or the EC that Emmanuel is supporting, what are the data supporting the suggestion that they can bring polls to 3 o'clock, and they think if they bring it 3 o'clock, between 3 and 5, people don't vote. There are a lot of people who are not voting. Most of the police stations are empty. There's no such data. So for me, let's ignore this propaganda that they are trying to play. I want you to set the record straight that it's another avenue for the MPP to use to rig the next coming election. Right. And the plan that they want to do is they want to push this through using those mushrooms parties over there who they pay them to come and sit there to vote on everything that they think they want to do to rig the election.
Okay.
I can bet you that if the NDC allow this thing to happen, Alfred, there are some constituencies in the Volta region just this past election. Materials got there as late as 10 a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
So why did the material get there at 10 a.m.? They will tell you because of logistic purposes. The EC itself has not been able to resolve its logistical problems when it comes to distributions of what? Electoral materials.
Okay.
Not all, apart from the voter, there are other regions in the affluent places that electoral materials get there after even 12 in the PM.
Right.
So this thing that they are bringing, there's no any scientific data to back it. So let's throw it away.
Okay. Another proposal that they have, just quickly before we actually get into our conversation, is another proposal is to have this continuing registration, which means anytime you turn 18 or anytime any Ghanaian wants to register, that they can just walk into the district office of the Electoral Commission and register. I've heard, couple of MDC communicators spoke against this and gave various reasons. What is your view on that, Paul?
Hi.
Okay, Paul, don't worry.
Alfred.
Yes.
That is another. I mean, something that I cannot even understand them on.
Right.
You understand me? Look, we do mass registration to enable the political parties to have their representatives over there, so that we can know how many people entered into the register.
Right.
So we can keep record of it.
Right.
And the EC is telling us that they are not more going to do that. They are going to do registration every day at their district offices.
Yeah.
I don't know, but let's take my village, Hajirana Kopa, where I come from. From there to the district office, okay? It's about an hour and a half drive or two. Do you think the local people in my village who don't even have money to take care of themselves will use their money to board a car and travel to the district office to go and register? You see, these things, once again, there's no scientific data to support this assertion they are making. And it's something that I want us to throw away. Anyway, the party leadership in Ghana are working very hard. They are going to put out a very comprehensive document out there to show reasons why this recommendation or this suggestion that they are giving is not going to hold water.
Okay, great.
Number two, okay, just
go ahead, finish it up.
Comment on you said there's a high profile person in the NDC has resigned. Let me put it on record. Atuguba is just like me. He's not a high profile person in the party.
Well, high profile because he was a former presidential candidate, run for president.
That doesn't matter. He's not. If you are, he did not. He just showed him face. Was he able to pay the money to go to the contest? He did not. He just came to brag. Alfred, I can equally go and stand and say that I want to be a candidate. Right. Does that make me a high profile person in the party? Obviously.
Absolutely.
Atuguba, forget about him. He's the people that we don't want to, who have been set to distract our focus and our attention and our decision to build a party. We are not going to be here to allow him to throw dust and divert attention. The MPP are behind this. They are trying to use him, to divert attention, but he's not going to watch. He's not going to buy. In any case, he's on suspension. So I don't know. I don't want to even talk about it. He's on suspension. So let's not talk about it. Let's move on, Alfred.
Okay.
Hey,
So
Alfred,
we have Dr. Lawrence joining. Dr. Lawrence, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Dr. Lawrence. So we started giving preliminary comments. I know your pictures now, but we can hear your sound. We started giving preliminary comments, and we are kind of talking about all the things that happened over the week. And if you can also give us your views on those things, and of course introduce yourself, since this is your second time on the show, and our viewers haven't seen in a very long time.
Let me see if I can see myself.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we can see you now.
Okay.
Great.
Good. Well, can you see what is written on my T-shirt?
Fix the country. We are with you. Solidarity.
There we go.
Yeah.
Very good. My name is Dr. Lawrence. I am the founder of Friends of Don Dramani Mahama North America.
Okay.
I am the founder of the Diaspora Progressive Movement in the United States.
Yep.
I'm a former financial secretary of NDC USA.
Okay.
I am currently a member of the NDC USA communication team. And I am also a writer and an agent of progress.
Right.
So, having said that, I just want to say a big thank you to my brother Disoso for giving me this platform to also come and say what I have to say.
Right.
As for me, people know me to be somebody who speak rough. And if I say rough, it means when you are saying something that doesn't make sense, I will let you know that what you are saying doesn't make sense.
Okay.
I will not insult you, but I will let you know that what you are saying doesn't make sense.
Okay.
And if you have to go back and revise your notes, then you might have to go.
Doctor, I think we lost your sound.
Coming up with this 3 p.m. closing time.
Right.
You see, I was thinking that the Electoral Commission and those who went and sat at that IPAC meeting and came up with that suggestion, I was thinking that if they were people that really meant good for the country, before they came up with that 3 p.m. closure of the polling stations, they
Right.
should have even told us that they are pushing for a national holiday on that day.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but some say, the national holidays wouldn't affect people in the formal sector, that people who go to the farms, the market women, national holiday doesn't affect them. They still have to vote.
That is true. But if they had come up with that, people would have taken them serious.
Right. Right.
People would have seen that at least they think about the people of Ghana. And people would have known that they didn't just come up with a 3 p.m. time, but at least they went further to ask for a holiday for people to be able to vote on time.
Right.
Like my brother Disoso said, what was even the data that they used to determine the 3 p.m. time?
Okay.
Do we, my friend Alfred, do we vote? Listen to this question very carefully.
Right.
Do we vote because we want to count the votes on time, or we vote so that we have a majority representation to speak on an issue?
We definitely vote because we want. And even if you look at one of the achievements they've listed that 79% of registered voters actually voted, and that was something they were proud of. Which means the goal is to have majority of the registered voters actually turning out to vote.
Exactly. That should be the focus of the Electoral Commission.
Right.
That should be the focus of the Electoral Commission if they are not intending to rig the election for the MPP in 2024. That should be their focus.
Right.
Their focus is that they will have to be very inclusive to ensure that majority of Ghanaians vote to get people who would represent them in parliament and and get somebody who will be their president.
Right.
But you close at 3 o'clock, and out of 10 million people who are supposed to vote, 3 million people vote, 2 million people vote, and because you've closed it, you say that is it.
Right.
Listen, in 2020, I was in Ghana to help with the elections, and my role was to pick people from one constituency to the other. And there were about 5 people that I moved them to a place they call they call overseas. It's very far. Now, when I sent them to the overseas and they voted, when I came back, it was 3:30. And I have to take a second batch of people to the same place to vote.
Okay.
Do you see? So
Right.
assuming voting ended at 3 o'clock in 2020, you see the number of people that were going to be left out not voting. Because
yeah, I mean, by the time you go for the first round and come back, it'll be time for the polls to close. So it'll be difficult.
You see why Ghana, we don't have thinkers in Ghana anymore. We don't have thinkers in Ghana anymore. You see, this MPP government and this electoral commission, they are just running the country one day at a time, hoping that there will not be any volcano until January 2025.
Right. Okay.
So they'll just hand over the reins of government to the next NDC government, and then they leave.
Right. So those are just preliminary comments. Yeah, those are just preliminary comments, and definitely grateful for all the opinions you have to share. I know Emmanuel will disagree on some of the points you shared, but let me read a few.
I don't know why he should disagree. I just don't know why he should disagree.
Mr. Lawrence, I agree.
If he really thinks if he really thinks about Ghana and if he really thinks about Ghanaians, he should not disagree with what I've said.
Right.
Dr. Lawrence.
Before you come in and answer that, let me read a few of the comments that we've gotten so far. Trend Africa says, please share, and Ghana first, fix the country, we are tired. So that is from Trend Africa to everybody listening to us. If you're a government official especially, they are saying, fix the country, we are tired. Then I have Emmanuel Bayer. Emmanuel Bayer says, Ima should tell us his views on Galamsey excavator burning. Is it the best or not? So we'll talk about Galamsey, and I have a video from the Minister of Defense that I'll be playing, and we'll discuss that. So Emmanuel, hold off answering that question till when we discuss Galamsey. And then I think he came back again and said, Ima and Paul should let us know their views on Galamsey and excavator burning. So the same thing he said. And I think I have Kobina Bibini here says, share, which means share the links. Please share the links so that others can also benefit from the program. Also, Mr. Ato Kominadaso, one of our strong supporters, is always watching the show and contributing as usual. Ato, we are grateful for you supporting us week after week. And Ato is saying we have problem with coalition and not the duration of polls. The EC must find innovative ways to collate results than closing the polls at 3 p.m. The other proposals make sense to me. Okay, so he's saying, yes, that's, of course, the problem we have is with coalition. Because if you realize the last election, there wasn't any chaos during voting itself. Everything went peacefully. But when it was time to collate, that is when we saw all the issues, the fightings, and some shootings. And I think 8 people lost their life as a result. So he's saying that there should be innovative ways to deal with this. Maybe introduce some technologies that would assist with the coalition. But closing at 3 p.m. is something even he is against. The next one again is from him again. He says, for the NDC, it is unwise to boycott, but I know they are they'd run to IPAC close to election because all the recommendations agreed upon will be binding if they attend or stay away and talk. Early days, yes. So basically he's saying, the NDC is going to go back and of course participate in IPAC. That it is just because of early days, we are not yet close to election, and that may be the reason. But I believe Dr. Lawrence will have good reasons for why the NDC, and he's already stated some, and he's going to add to that. So, Emmanuel, you were going to say something, but I want you to hold off the Galamsey, burning of the excavators, and we'll talk about that when we get. But do you want to respond to anything Dr. Lawrence said so far?
And then, I can say greetings to Dr. Lawrence. I think my first time meeting you on the show.
All
And
right.
there's two things that Paul I just want to respond to. And I know Paul accused MPP being behind the exit of one of their members out, and that's false. We are not involved in NDC activities. So that's that to them. But the continuous registration also, I want to comment on it. The continual registration, Alfred, we have resources. You see, this is more. It's more common sense. We have a district electoral commission sitting there in the office for 4 years. What is their use of? We are paying these people for sitting in the office. We need to find something for them to do. If someone can get to the office and can be able to register, like people in the diaspora, when we travel to Ghana, this is the best opportunity for us to go and get our voter ID. We don't have to go in when there's a mass registration. Even those in the diaspora, we should be happy about this continuous registration exercise, where whenever I go to Ghana, I can go to the district office and get my registration done. I don't have to wait till a time set for me to go and do that. Paul, Alfred, I can't hear you.
Here's the concern with that. We know that during the registration, that the parties usually have their representatives at the registration centers to ensure that the people who are being registered have the qualifications or are validly Ghanaians. In other words, they're able to show proof that they are Ghanaians. They have the correct identification forms to be registered, so that our voter register is not being padded by one particular. Because you could imagine that the NDC strongholds could have people register who the MPP may disagree with whether they are qualified to be on our registers or not, and that could also happen at the MPP strongholds. That's what the NDC is mainly complaining about, and says that the continuous registration may not necessarily be what we need at this point, until certain structures are in place to ensure that we can validly prove the identity of the people we are registering.
I get your reason for that, and that's a concern, right? A very big concern for everyone, regardless wherever you are. And this is the fundamental problem we have in Ghana when it comes to the political organizations, right? When we are in government, like I'm an MPP, when in government we are comfortable with the EC. When we are not in government, we are not comfortable. We don't trust the EC, and that's the problem. We need to get beyond that and believe in
the EC to conduct a registration at the district level. At the district level continuously throughout the year without any accusation of partying in the voter region. Do you trust that?
I trust that in opposition or out of opposition. And let me tell you the reason why. It's boiled down to data, right? And your process of doing registration. You see, if you are going to be transparent how you do registration, what are the documents being attached? If there is an auditor that comes and audit the EC, would you be able to audit the registration that was done? See, that's why we need to put measures and controls in place to make sure what the EC is doing in the district office can be accessible. And if NDC need a copy, you should be able to ask for a copy. And the document that was used to register any single voter, that should be something that we all have to come together and think about that. Where do we get the comfort? And then lastly, I want to comment on and what my Dr. Lawrence was saying. I would agree with him on favor. If you said that those who sat down in the IPAC love Ghana, they would have not come with that idea. Then I would say, if NDC love Ghana, they would have not boycott or omit themselves from the discussion. That should be very crucial in this stage. So let's put some differences aside. The election, we cannot boycott election. We tried it in 1992. Look at how it affected us. In the parliamentary side of it, NDC, when NPP, we cannot boycott it. So it's better for us. Let's agree to disagree. Let's come together. What are your concerns? What are your concerns? Put it on board. Let's vet it out and let's come on a common ground. We don't have to agree on every single item. But if you think that you are wiser than the EC or the members of the IPAC, then I think that's where the problem will come in. And I think I to make a good point. Whether you stay in or you stay out, whatever decision that comes is binding. So it's better for you to get in early and let us dialogue and speak to each other and get things done. I think you are on mute.
I always do that so that when I'm saying something against you, you wouldn't hear it. But yeah, so on that note, let's transition to our topic for the day, which is, of course, we know the president went on a 9-day visit to Europe, stopped by France. The French president organized a summit for African countries. 18 countries attended. He's actually offering a new deal to Africa. In other words, just like we had the structural adjustments before from the World Bank, and somehow he alone, or the French, who of course have more debt to GDP than we do, are going to help the whole of Africa develop. So, okay, the president went there, and they're stopped in other countries like Belgium on the way. And at Belgium, he secured a loan from the European Investment Bank of 170 million euros to support development bank that the government intends to start in Ghana this July. My understanding is the bank will come online this July. The goal of this bank would be to be the source of credit or extend credit to small and medium enterprises in Ghana, especially in the high growth sectors like agribusiness, manufacturing, and construction. Now, we've done this in Ghana before. We've had NIB as our first development bank. We had a spin-off out of NIB, which is the Agri Development Bank. Also, starting operation and concentrating on the agriculture sector. But all these attempts sort of morphed into commercial activity after a while, or they converted into a commercial activity after a while, which means we've tried this in Ghana before and it did not work. How is this going to work this time? And why don't we go back to, so some of the questions we are hearing is, why don't we go back to what we started with NIB and Agri Development Bank and restructure them, refocus them to concentrate on the developmental mandate under which they were formed and have them actually operate under the new Development Financial Institutions Law, which we passed in August 2020. Why don't we do that? Why are we starting afresh? I am going to play a video from the minister describing when this idea started, why they had decided to go with the green field approach, etc., etc. When we get back from that video, I want us to discuss those questions. Why not go back to what we started with NIB? Why are we creating a new bank? Why have we collapsed banks and now starting a new bank? What is the wisdom in this? And is this just job for the boys? Or is this just another scheme to siphon a lot of money out of the system before the MPP goes out of power? I'll play the video when we come back, Dr. Lawrence. I know you would have a lot to say about this. I've seen your videos demonstrating in front of the Ghana Embassy by yourself, which is very commendable for just for you to do. But let me play the video. We'll come back and talk about it.
Work on DBG started in 2018 with a task force of industry experts established by government to recommend the best approach to establish a modern and dynamic development bank. Based on the recommendation of the task force, government decided to set up DBG as a new non-deposit taking wholesale bank under the Companies Act. DBG as a wholesale and non-deposit taking bank requires no branch network and minimal staff. It will therefore be very costly financially and in terms of the closure of branches and employment loss to try to convert an ADB or NIB into a viable modern development bank. The advantage we foresee of a greenfield approach is that one gets to start from a clean slate with no legacy financial governance and other issues. This allows us to focus on the future and move straight into setting up DBG equipped with modern and sound design principles. The Greenfield approach also has the potential to attract more private and international institutional capital, as we have witnessed with EIB's 170 million euro facility. It also government's plans to attract other shareholders, both domestic and international, so as to increase DBG's capital base and also reduce the government's share over time. As I indicated in my last press briefing on 9th May 2021, the bank will be launched in July 2021. We are aiming to establish DBG with an initial Government of Ghana equity contribution of $250 million, of which $200 million has already been paid. We aim to increase DBG's lending capacity by raising additional funds from domestic and international private and institutional investors. The World Bank is providing $250 million. KfW is providing $46.5 million. We are also talking to the AFDB to partner with us in the establishment of the bank. DBG will pay back the loans that government has taken on its behalf from the international financial institutions. Government therefore sees its contribution to DBG as investment that should be paid back. All the more reason we'll insist on the professional management of the bank. As
All right, let's go with Dr. Lawrence first. Doctor, you've heard the minister give reasons why they would adopt this greenfield approach. In other words, start from afresh, right? And rather than bringing on board, or rather than converting NIB or ADB into, this new development bank that they want to start, they wanted a new approach, a new greenfield approach, which is start afresh from the scratch, so that they don't come with these legacy governance issues or debt issues, or having to fire all the people as a result of closing the commercial locations that this ADB and NIB has. Because the new development bank that the country is about to start, or the government wants to start, wouldn't have branches all over the place. It wouldn't be a commercial lending bank. It would just be a bank that deals with other banks. So what do you think about all this, and even the need for development bank at this point in our history?
Yeah, Alfred, you said this is job for the boys. Actually,
Mr. Lawrence, if you can speak a little louder, I think your voice is lower.
Okay. Am I better now?
Yeah, a little better.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I mean, this is not actually job for the boys.
Okay.
It is rather money for the boys.
Okay.
Now,
Why do you say so?
Now, how many people are in Ghana now? What is our population?
About 31 million.
31 million. So if this 170 euros, we should give every Ghanaian 2 million euros to start something, to start a capital.
Uh-huh.
How many millionaires would come to Ghana? Maybe after 5 years. How many millionaires? You tell me. Because if we should share, if we should give 2 million euros to every Ghanaian, that would amount to about 62 million euros.
What are you giving? You are giving 2 million cedis or 2 million euros. Is that what you're saying?
No, the money they are borrowing now is 170
million.
Euros.
Yes.
So if you give every Ghanaian 2 million euros, you will come to 60.
Just about 60 something people will get it. Now, not the whole country. It would only cover about, even if you give 1 million each, you only cover about 170 people. So you divide that by 2, you are covering about just 180 people.
Okay. Let's take your math.
Yeah.
And if we do that, how many millionaires would have been created?
Right.
But you see, when I say, I say this all the time, that this Akufo-Addo government, they don't have any direction. They don't have any plan.
Right.
They don't have any foresight. They, like I said, they are just running the country one day at a time and hoping that there will not be any volcano, so they will just pack and leave the plaster house in January 2025. That is what they are doing. Come to think about it. 4 years ago, we have these banks that were operating. Now, Bawumia in opposition told Ghanaians that about 8 of the banks will collapse. That was when they were in opposition.
But also, if you recall, the asset quality review that showed us the bank had problems started in 2015.
Yes,
that is what I'm the banks were in trouble.
Massa, when that report came out and Bawumia was in opposition, and now Bawumia took over the reins of government in 2017 and became the vice president and the head of the economic team. Are you telling me that if Bawumia had brains, he wouldn't have solved that problem? He will have to let the banks go and then go and borrow 170 euros to come and build just one bank. Are you telling me that if there are thinkers in this administration, they will kill hundreds of banks with 22 or 24 million cedis just when they needed about 9 million cedis or billion? I don't know which one is which. Do you think if there are thinkers in this government, they would kill all these banks with money that was almost twice to survive these banks? And then at the end of the day, in the first term of their, in the first year of their second term, they are now going to Europe to borrow 170 million euros just to build one bank. Where are the thinkers? Where are the solution minds? Where are the solution minds?
Right.
What problem? In fact, when they bring this bank, when they bring this bank, what problem are they going to solve?
Yeah, but we know for sure that it's tough getting loan in Ghana on a long-term basis. The average loan in Ghana is about 2.5 years. We know that even lending to private sector has declined. From 2018, it went from about 20%, went down to about 15. Well, went from 20 to 15, then went to 12% in 2019, and now it's 10% of our GDP. So lending to private sector has been on decline, and without private sector's ability to access capital, all our revitalization or reconstruction programs that we have will not succeed. So, do you not see the need for a bank in between, the commercial banks that would either guarantee credits for the commercial banks or lend money to the commercial banks for onward lending to these small and medium enterprises like the 1D and 1F that the president has embarked on?
Alfred,
yeah,
all these lending things that you are talking that has declined, is it me who caused it? Who has been in government for the past 4 years?
Right.
Is it me? Is it me who caused it? And is it not the policies they put in place that has caused all these problems we are discussing now?
Right.
And what is the guarantee that the finance minister talking all this English, when they are giving that money, they are going to use it exactly as they are talking about?
Right.
Don't we know about the cathedral? What has happened to the cathedral?
Right.
What good things didn't this same finance minister say about the building of the cathedral? What did he say? You see, yeah, if you really want to believe what these people tell you, master, you will eat your kenke without faith.
Right.
Like ABA Husseini said, if an MPP president and MPP vice president tells you to greet you, look at the time before you respond,
Right.
because he will be greeting you at the wrong time. But apart from that, are these not the same people who told us that borrowing was a lazy man's approach to government? Are these not the same people? And are these not same people who told us Ghana beyond aid? So what has happened to them?
But this is not aid, right? This is loan that we would have to repay
No,
back, and the interest rate is very low,
Ghana beyond
about
aid.
0. Yeah.
Ghana beyond aid is Ghana without loans.
Okay.
That is the meaning of it. Ghana without any foreign assistance.
Right.
And they told us, these people who are now happy that they are borrowing, told us when they were in opposition that borrowing was a lazy man's way of government.
Right.
And have they not borrowed over 170 billion Ghana cedis already? It's our ratio of GDP to the debt not over 76% already?
Yeah.
Is Ghana not already officially in HIPIC? Is Ghana not official? Because they told us, these people who are going about encouraging themselves that they have borrowed, when the GDP to the debt ratio was 69.9%, they told us Ghana was in HIPIC.
Right.
And now the ratio to the GDP to the debt is 76%, and they are happy. They are not talking about HIPIC anymore.
But they also
So
tell you that that's the new normal, right? Across the world, we have this what we call the zombie fight theory, where around the world, because of COVID, most countries have gone above and beyond what their GDP debt to GDP ratios were. For instance, in the US, we've crossed the 100% threshold and went into something like 103, going to 105 now. Even France is heavily indebted compared to Ghana. We are not anywhere close to France's GDP debt to GDP ratio. So this is the new normal. So it's not the normal times where we would want to say GDP, but I hear your point. Even pre-COVID, we were carrying a huge debt balance on our books, and so we couldn't even use COVID for an excuse. Is that what you're saying? But
correct.
Again, let's also recognize that we are in a new normal.
Now, Alfred,
Right.
are these not the same people who are priding themselves that Nana Akufo-Addo is the best president in Africa for fighting COVID-19?
Yeah.
So what did COVID-19 do to our economy? If the president has dealt with it so well, what should be the effect of COVID-19 on the economy?
Right.
I mean, come to think about it.
Right.
The thing has come. Our president is the best president in Africa that dealt with it so well. So
Right.
why should that have a problem on our economy? Why should we even mention COVID-19 as the problem we are having now if our president is the best president in Africa who has dealt with it?
Okay. So I want to bring Emmanuel in, but I want you to wrap up. Yeah.
There is a disconnect between what the MPP leadership is telling Ghanaians and what exactly is happening on the ground and what they themselves they are also doing. The three are completely different. They are telling us different things. They are telling us something. They are doing something differently, and the situation on the ground is also completely different. Three different things, and that is why I said this government needs to go away even before December 2024.
Great. So I'm going to bring you in, Emmanuel, but let me take 3 quick comments and then we can hear what you have to say about Development Bank Ghana. So Dr. Fori is saying, Doctor, your math may be off, but that was basically him saying if your comment about if we distribute $1 million to each Ghanaian, how many millionaires would we have? So thanks for that comment, Dr. Ofori, who's a director of ACO Radio. Thanks for your support as well. Regina says, this is crazy. I'm sure Regina is referring to the fact that, we have this quantum of loan burdening the country, and we are taking more on in the name of putting in place a development bank, even though, the idea is such a good one, but we are saying, would the money even end up serving the purpose for which it is being contracted? The last message that I wanted to take before you come in, Emmanuel, is from Nana Yao Asari Amposa. Nana Yao is saying that NDC's logic is so poor that it scares me to hear that this is the party that wants power to rule Ghana. The way they think and understand governance cannot lead or push Ghana into the modern or a bright Ghana. So that is Nana Yao's opinion. And I think he's criticizing you, Dr. Lawrence. Dr. Lawrence, I will let you respond to that after Emmanuel's presentation. So, Emmanuel, we want a bank to serve as an intermediary between our current commercial banks. And we know that we've started this, somewhere back in the 1965s, where we had the NIB to kind of be our development bank to help, provide credit or access to credit to businesses. We know that there were challenges doing so. Even while NIB was operating, there was a recognition that the agri sector needed attention, and so we spin off the department in NIB that handled the agriculture sector and formed Agricultural Development Bank out of that. The two organizations, did not succeed in what they were set to do, which is provide credit on a long-term basis to businesses, and therefore started lending and taking deposits, which is not what they were set to do. Some are saying we should go back and change them so that they will serve the purpose of which they were established, the original purpose. In other words, stop them from taking deposits. But NIB and Agricultural Development Bank have extended their activities across the country. They have so many branches all over the places and so many employees. The government is saying that to do so, to actually convert NIB and Agri Development Bank into a development bank for the purpose of lending only to businesses, we would have to close all these branches. So many people will have to lose their jobs. And so they are taking a different approach, what they are calling the greenfield approach, which means start afresh with a new development bank with capital from the NIB, which is the 170 million euros that they just secured from the European Investment Bank, with the World Bank's $250 million and all other arrangements that they have for raising additional funds that the Minister of Finance have enumerated. What are your views on this? Do we really need a new bank? Why did we collapse all these banks to actually now want to set up another bank? Now, we already have Consolidated Bank, which is also, an outfit of the bank, the government. Why can't we just get a branch in that bank to do the development aspect? Do we need to set up a whole new bank? Think about the cost of setting this thing up. It's actually going to cost the country several millions for all the consultants that would be hired for developing the prudential regulations for this bank to actually take effect. Think about all that cost. Is this just some money for the boys? Is this just another fund mechanism to find money to run the next campaign? We've known the NPP to be very crafty when it comes to finding ways to siphon money out of the system. So is this one of those, or this is reality? I want to hear what you have to say.
Alfred, thank you for that. And I want the disclaimer, right? I need a disclaimer on this one. I work in a bank in the United States, so my opinion does not reflect the bank I work for, which I'm more involved on the finance and the accounting piece of that bank. So my opinion on this bank it does not reflect my employer's opinion. So I want to make that one on record because I don't know where this video will end up to. Probably.
Absolutely.
So this one is purely my assessment on this, and since I've been exposed in the financial sector, Alfred, is why now? See, we cannot wait and say, okay, one mistake will cause us not to do anything.
Right.
You point out there is a need for a longer term of credit facility that we need to give it to this company. And then we, as a government, we were in the roadmap. We promised Ghanaians that we want to go to the industrialized piece of it. We want to build ourselves. So the Ghana Beyond Aid that Dr. Lawrence point out, we want to be more sufficient where we will be able to manage our own resources. We'll be able to produce and not be exporting the raw material, but keep it, add value to it, and sell it within, and also send it out there. And that's where we are starting from. This new bank, and I know NIB, ADB, which when I was going, I saw those. See, the focus change. Okay, they were meant for it. They were able to deliver, but they couldn't deliver at the longer space that we were expecting them. They couldn't, and then it's because of the objective of that bank. When you become we were not generating revenue to sustain yourself only on the commercial, the wholesale side of it, or only the commercial side of it. So you have to go into the retail. And I remember when NIB came.
Let me ask you, if NIB wasn't able to generate revenues in the wholesale sort of banking sector, and if ADB was not able to do that, what is the guarantee that the new bank we are about to establish will succeed at that? If we've had examples of failure,
let's look at
this.
Let's look at the timeline, okay? The timeline NIB and ADB came into the scene. Ghana, the retail banking was not that strong. How many people had access to have a bank account? As of those days, there was very less, so there was more opportunity for those banks to go to the retail banking space because most people were not having a bank account. Even debit card, how many ATM can we say we have in Ghana at that time? It was very less. So you have to also exploit that opportunity those days to get into the retail and the commercial and get things moving, because you cannot let a bank be limited into the wholesale, which at that time we were not into that industrialization aspect of it. So it was less revenue generation, even to break even in the balance sheet. It was very hard. So that's why they have to broaden their scope. This time, our financial, and Mr. Lawrence make a point like, okay, we kill banks to create banks. No, you see, the banking sector are so proud of the cleanup, though it costs money. Everything has to cost something. It costs us money to clean up. It's not just to kill banks. It make our ecosystem, the financial ecosystem, was strengthened by that. And I'm telling you, we save depositors money. We save depositors money on that cleanup, and the banks itself is very happy about it. That cleanup and help enable the ecosystem or the financial services. Okay, Alfred, let me land.
Except the banks that close are not happy, right? You know, if your bank was closed, you wouldn't be happy.
Honestly, I want some of them to be jailed. You see, we need to get consequence of what their action is. See, some of them were so rotten to the level that they got. See, that's where, for me, that's where my passion and it hurt me so much that as of today, who is at jail, and we can be proud that this person went to jail because of financial loss. And what do you for that? See, you have a people in Bank of Ghana supervising all these banks, which the director of supervision is, though I know the cases are in court and the court delegation can take longer. See, we have supervisions, we have auditors, we have internal controllers, we have people that could be paying for this thing that we have spent a lot of billions of dollars and millions of dollars to clean up. We need to hold people accountable. And for me, that's another conversation on its own. But let's come to this new bank. Alfred, it is needed. You see, you cannot spend one bank, right, and change the focus and put in another bank. It's very complex. And I know they have looked at the financial.
But we've done that with the Consolidated Bank Ghana.
We took multiple. We took and we constantly see that's another objective. But let's look at
But you are saying you can't take NIB and
You can do
ADB
it.
and turn them into
That's a different school of thought.
DBG.
You can.
Why would well, we've already been known to have done similar things, you know?
We can do that, but we are not the first. See, we are looking at, and now before this show, I was looking into Singapore. Look at Singapore.
Right.
Singapore have the same model. Singapore had mostly every bank to spin off and do something like that. See, but you have to, as a nation, you have to come to the conclusion that something has to happen. And the thing that has to happen, that you have to have a focused bank. And for me, I'm hoping that this will not be a failure, that we will go into the commercial or we will go into the retail for this bank. And the finance minister have make it clear. There is a pros and cons on this. And honestly, let us be fair. Let's put political opinions aside and let us be fair on this. There is a challenge that have to come in. We do not want to lose focus on this bank. See, the purpose that this bank is meant for, if we stick to it, I'm afraid, I can tell you 10 years from now or 15 years from now, we will see the benefit of it. If we stick to the plan. And that, for me, that's the only concern I have. If we stick to the plan, we'll be able to achieve more for this bank. You see, after you said it, you make it a good point that it is a struggle even to get a year's loan. Ghana is impossible. You cannot get a 10 years loan today. And I'm telling the industries, that the companies, that they need that facility. They need it right now to be able to operate without worrying about the monthly and annual repayment of interest on this, or maybe retiring the principal of the loan within 5 years. Well, this is a lot of money. So you need a bank to serve as an intermediary to bring that. There's opportunity for me there. The opportunity is there for the new bank to operate, to help the economy move.
Okay, so yeah, of course, there's opportunity for the new bank to operate, help the economy move. Let me take a few comments, and then I'll do a second round of this where I would have Dr. Lawrence respond to the things you said, and you respond back to Dr. Lawrence, and then we can transition to talking about the state of insecurity in Ghana. So let's look at the comments we got from Lifetime Legacy. Lifetime Legacy, it's one of our greatest supporters as well, always watching us every week. Lifetime Legacy, thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the Ghana Agenda. We appreciate all your contribution. Please share our link if you haven't already done so that other people can also join and contribute to the show. Lifetime Legacy says, clueless, visionless, purposeless Nana Addo. He destroyed Ghanaian banks and wants bank in Ghana. The easier we organize, no, let's not say that. So we are not going to be coup d'etat, okay? So that's Lifetime Legacy. Thanks for your comments. Evans Asigbe says, Nana Yao Amposa is one of Akufo-Addo's advisors who have ended up deceiving that old man who failed today woefully. Let him shut up immediately. So I think he's responding to Mr. Nana Yao Amposa's message up. Yes.
I think Evans' comment there, I know everyone have their own opinion, but I can tell you Nanaya is is a banker on its own, and I know him personally. He's an auditor too, so he have a very good insight than saying that he's a bad advisor to the president. He's one of the fundamental person to listen to. So Evans, you have his opinions is well respected, but it's not.
Nanaya and Evans, you're all invited to the show. If you want to join us and have this conversation, we definitely will bring you in. So thanks for your comments there. Regina says, our country is going down the ditch, and I can agree more. Hopefully, this, and it's just my hope that, of course, we know we need a development bank in one way or the other to support, lending. Matter of fact, we really don't need a development bank. We need our banks to be able to give long-term loans. That's all. So I don't necessarily think we need to form a whole bank just to solve a problem as simple as lending. Just give long-term, make it so that credit is available. If the government is going to guarantee those credits, absolutely let the government do it. To form a new bank of its own, the cost of forming the bank itself is going to be significant, and that would also go to be added to our debts that we are currently suffering under. Sure. Emmanuel, I got your point. Okay, so Emmanuel, Ibrahim is saying, can the MPP rep explain the term Ghana Beyond Aid for a common Ghanaian man to understand? Because it seems Ghanaians didn't understand the grammar by the president. So, Emmanuel, that is going to be your task. Ibrahim is asking that you explain what it means when we say Ghana Beyond Aid. It looks like we have our hands stretched out, still looking for aid all over the world. Okay, Evans again came back and said, you failed, you a failed president, and this vice president who told us that we are sitting on money, there is no need to borrow. Yet they borrow $179.7 billion in just 4 years without anything to show. And that has been the issue that we've all been crying about. I know Dr. Lawrence has been a single person demonstrator in front of the Ghana embassy here in Washington, D.C., highlighting all the debt that has been accumulated under this government and the fact that they didn't have nothing to show for it. And Dr. Lawrence is here on the show with us, and I'm sure he has a lot to say when it comes to that. So Dr. Lawrence will give you that opportunity to respond to what Evans is saying there. Regina says, one more serious note. On a serious note, when you calculate the rented aircraft, hotel, and their upkeep, the loan is all gone even before they will come back to Ghana. So exactly. So my understanding is when the president, travels, that it costs about how much? Is it $29,000 a day or something like that? I'm not, quite right on that figure, but it is supposed to be very huge. I don't know to what extent this summit in France was actually going to provide any benefit for us, because France is asking for the IMF to increase the SDR allocation to various countries, and Africa is supposed, so they're about to increase that up to about what? 650 billion or so is what they're asking for the SDA draws to be increased to, and Africa is only going to get 33 billion out of that. The largest part of that SBA draw allocation will be going to the developed countries. So I don't know to which extent this trip is actually going to benefit we in the developing countries, and I'm sure that is why out of all the 54 countries in Africa, only 18 attended. So we need to kind of keep that in focus, and that goes to Regina's question here. Nana Addo and Baumia are clueless, visionless, purposeless. You destroy Ghanaians' banks and want foreign banks. The earlier we... Okay, so that's lifetime legacy again. Okay, last two comments quickly, and then we'll go to Dr. Lawrence. Regina says, create, loot, and share government. And I can agree more. But again, let's hope that is not the case. Let's hope this time around, the 170 million euros would go to actually develop a wholesale bank that would provide benefit for all the factories that we are seeing come through the government's 1D, 1F initiative, and even the ones that are already existing. We know VACO is currently suffering. Instead of running 3 smelters, we understand that they are only running 1 smelter, and that has a significant impact on our GDP. Is VACO likely to get a long-term loan extended to it under this facility? We are going to look to see if that happens. So Ibrahim again says, to the NDC rep, how well can he convince us that should NDC be voted to power, that they ain't going to do same as the MPP administration is doing? Don't think Ghana is too big for NDC and NPP. Don't he think Ghana is too big for NDC and NPP? If yes, they should stop, deceiving Ghanaians because we see them. Okay, so let's start from there, Dr. Lawrence. He is saying, wouldn't the NDC do the same thing? Because we have all the political parties say all these good things in opposition. But when they come into power, it's a different story. If you listen to Baumia in opposition, you would think once they become once the NPP government or once the NPP comes into government, that in 18 months you wouldn't recognize Ghana. Ghana would turn into this beautiful, well-developed economy. But we are yet to see any of those promises. Will the NDC now do the same thing when it comes to power? And that is to you, Dr. Lawrence.
No. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, the answer is no. because we've seen 8 years of NDC, and then we've seen 8 years of MPP.
Right.
Now, when NDC was in power, we decided to fix the infrastructure problem, and then the Dumso problem, we decided to fix them by building all this infrastructure and schools, and we fixed Dumso before Mahama was booted out of office. Now, you tell me what this MPP, what is their focus? Tell me, what is their focus? It's all over the place. Master of all things, but they have nothing to show for. Now, before I even come to the question and the answering to it,
right?
My good friend was saying those who were in charge of the collapsed banks have not been arrested, and that is his problem. You see his admission that his government has failed. I mean, you see, some of these MPP people, they still talk like they are in opposition. You've been in government for 4 years, and now you have a second term of 6 months. You haven't arrested anybody, and you don't know what to talk about. You don't know what to say about that. My friend, your government has failed, and they continue to fail. And he also said that if the government should see through why this bank, development bank, is going to do in the country in 10 to 15 years time, we will see the benefit.
Right.
Now, 4.5 years of Nana Akufo-Addo's government, what have they started and they saw it through to the end of it? What have they started that they saw it through? When I don't know why whenever I'm talking, you bring in these pictures to divert my attention. I don't want to see Nana Akufo-Addo. I don't want to see Nana Akufo-Addo. When the MPP guy was talking, I mean, you show his full face. And then when I'm talking, you are showing Nana Akufo-Addo to me.
Let's go, Doc. Don't worry, okay. Your full face is up now. No. You don't want to see what? Yeah, go ahead.
Now, you see, he says if the government will see through to the building of this bank and all the good things that they've said about this bank, if this government will see through it, by 10 to 15 years' time, we will see the benefit of the bank. Then you ask yourself, for 4.5 years that Nana Akufo-Addo has been in power, what have they started and what have they ended well?
Right.
Look at one district, one factory. It is only when Bawumia went and commissioned one I don't know what factory it was in Sanwam or somewhere, and then they said it's the 77th one. But nobody knows where the 76 are. Nobody knows where the 76 are. We only saw 77. Right. Look at one dam, one village, one dam. The minister in charge of that dam, or the minister in charge of that ministry, came to tell us that before they can get a befitting dam, it will cost Ghana 3 million cedis. But they have only, she has only been given 250,000 to build these dams.
Right.
How would they expect to get a meaningful
dam? What kind of dam do you expect to get for $250,000?
Correct. Look at free senior higher education.
Right.
Children go to school 1 month and then they come and stay home for 3 months.
Right.
And when they come to stay home for 3 months, nobody knows when they are going back.
Right.
Look at the fight against Galamsey. Were we not fighting this Galamsey thing 4 years ago?
Yeah. And
haven't we started it again? And when they had a conference and they invited Otunfo Osetutu II to come and speak, they went there to gag him. They went and told him not to speak his mind, and that he should speak from this. I mean, he should read the script that they have presented to him. And then you turn around and tell me that you are fighting Galamsey. You turn around to tell me that you are doing something that I should clap for you. You see this government?
Right.
It does. Master, this government is the most useless government in this Fourth Republic. And Nana Akufo-Addo has disappointed a lot of people. Did you see he being on BBC telling the BBC and the whole world that what do you call it? He said when it comes to the fight against corruption, he has distinguished himself to the widest imagination of Ghanaians.
Right.
That when it comes to the fight against corruption, Nana Akufo-Addo, this man that you were showing his picture that I didn't want to see, said he has fought corruption to the widest imagination of Ghanaians.
Right.
Can you believe that?
He believes he's been successful fighting corruption, but except that all Ghanaians disagree. We don't believe that.
But Masa,
Right.
should Nana Akufo-Addo say this? Nana Akufo-Addo. Not Kufo. Nana Akufo-Addo. Should Nana Akufo-Addo be the one telling us this?
Nah.
That he has distinguished himself in fighting corruption to the widest imagination.
I think it was the question that was presented to him, right? Because he was asked to assess his performance on corruption. So he has to give some answer in one way or the other.
Master,
and if you were the president, what would you have done?
So you see what I am talking about this government.
Right.
That it is a talking government. They have not started anything 4.5 years. They have not started anything and finished it completely. And when you ask them a question, instead of...
I think we lost your sound.
Did I mute myself?
Yes, but go ahead. We can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, somebody called me and I'll just turn it there.
Right.
So you see, Masa, they cannot bring this 170 million euros to Ghana and get nothing accomplished. You mark it. 2024, call me back onto this show and let's assess this 1 million euros. 170 million euros.
Right.
Call me back into the show in 2024 and let's assess how far this one.
I think we lost your sound again.
Has been used.
Okay. Okay, we can hear you.
Yeah, when somebody is calling me, then it does that.
Right.
Now, this Nana Akufo-Addo government, as somebody wrote, they need to be out of office before December 2024 by popular uprising.
No, we know that will not happen. We are not advocating for that. This is the Ghana agenda. We definitely want to maintain a peaceful country, so we will not advocate for that. But
if Nana Akufo-Addo and his administration do not leave the country, there will not be peace in Ghana.
Right.
Master, people are suffering now.
Right. Okay.
People are really suffering.
Right.
And it is, we have to let the facts be there. They have to, like Otunfo told them, they have to start speaking truth to the people.
Right.
Before things go out of order.
Great. So this is a great segment for us to take a quick break.
Speak the truth to the people.
Right.
Thank you very much.
So what Dr. Lawrence is saying is that let's speak to truth to power, but also we want to kind of, be clear on this show that, of course, we believe in true democracy and we believe that we will share our opinions as citizens and not be spectators, as the president advocate asks us to do, and that come 2024, we expect that the Ghanaians would go and exercise their franchise and decide on who leads them going forward, but nothing about getting rid of the president before his term is over. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to go into the insecurity or the state of insecurity in Ghana. Journalists has been, attacked. Several of them, some have been killed over the years, and it seems nothing has been going on as far as that is concerned. We know that, if you're a journalist right now, you are, got to be careful, watch out for yourself, that you don't know when you'll be adopted, beaten, or etc., etc. It seems the government is covering for the security personnel who are involved in this impunity or these activities. So we'll talk about that, but let's take a quick break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation. Tell a friend to tell a friend. The Ghana Agenda is on, and if you haven't already done so, please share.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah baby, aka yeah Phantom. And me di feel a buzzing pan and to see one virtue the money how Ghana mat ada romantic. With me send the provisions, esa sutra credit, Emma ebusuya phone and for more Ghana. And one say ubako www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's provisions in the credit. Na really ankasa. I have friend numbers na screen Ghana Mat ye crano.
All right, welcome back to the Ghana Agenda. Please go to Ghana Mat if you are in the United States and you need to have shopping done. You'll be able to buy provisions on the website and have it delivered to your loved ones back home in Ghana. And of course, they'll be happy and grateful for you doing so. So Ghana Mat is your number one place to go and shop for your family in the comfort of your home and have it delivered to your loved ones back home in Ghana. Try it. I've tried it and I love it. I want to play a quick video here of a journalist who was attacked, and he was kind enough to share some of his experience. So let's watch what he has to say, and then when we come back on the other end, we would discuss. So here he goes. Matter of fact, I think I need to pull it in. So let me start over. Okay, here we go. So this is one of the journalists in Ghana who was attacked, and then he made a video to explain what happened. We know that recently happened to another one, Caleb. And so let's play this video and then we'll talk about it.
They beat me with sticks, with their hands, with their boots, with the bat of the gun. They hit my head multiple times. It came out that I had a fracture in my skull. I'm only hoping that the perpetrators of this crime are brought to book, they face the law, and then the court decides what kind of punitive action should be meted out to them. We are all demanding justice and respect for press freedom. Attack on the journalists is attack on the civilian population of the country.
All right. So you've seen the journalists talking about the fact that he was attacked, hit in the head with gun, had fractured. His head was fractured. We know the Ahmed Swale story where he was shot. Until today, the perpetrators haven't been brought to book. You hear Kennedy Japan say that the government knows who the perpetrators are. The police know who the perpetrators are. And at the same time, these perpetrators seem to be shielded in one way or the other, or for whatever reason, they are not being brought up. Recently, we know a City FM journalist, Caleb Kuder, had gone to take some pictures of vehicles that were left to rot on a national security compound. And even while he was doing that he was also arrested, beaten, and names came up of security members of the security force who were involved in abusing Mr. Caleb. Then we saw a letter, a press release from the Minister of National Security that an investigation has been conducted and those security forces will now be let go to their mother institutions or to the military outfit to which they belong for further investigation and perhaps punishment to be meted out to them. And so we are confused. These individuals have been security officers who were assigned to the national security outfits. If they are found to be in violation of the laws of the country and an investigation has been conducted, should the remedy be that they are just transferred to their mother institution, or should it be that they are handed to the law enforcement, in other words, to the police, to be prosecuted and punished for the law that they violated? I know in the United States here, if you are in the military and you are found in violation of any law of the country, they actually have the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which deals with you first. So you get to go to a captain's mast if you were in the Navy, or you get to go to, I think they call it something else in the Army. But you go through the internal processes of the military, which sees to you that you are properly held accountable for your conduct before you are given to the civilian law to also deal with you. So you can actually suffer what we call double jeopardy if you were a military person or security person in the United States who was found to be in violation of the laws. If you look at the cases that we've seen in the United States where a policeman would have shot somebody, you see that they are fired immediately or put on a retirement or put on some kind of administrative leave and investigated and then handed over to the law, to the court system to deal with. So what are we seeing in Ghana? Is it a case where each time these things happen, we've seen reports after commissions making recommendations for specific individuals to be punished, just for those individuals to continue to operate within our security apparatus? So what are we seeing? Is it that the government is or is the government in support of this type of activities, this type of insecurity and violence being mentored to citizens and journalists in the country? And I'm going to start with you, Joe. What's your assessment of what we are seeing currently? Is this what you expect of your government? And
Alfred, thank you. And as your show name is Ghana Agenda, what will move Ghana forward? Yeah. And for me, and personally, I do not want any journalist to go through that experience. It's something that you and I, where we are in this country, especially the FBI and the CIA, which their agents are extremely professional. It's very hard, even upon all the mix of police officers and harassing people of color. You will never see FBI officer or CIA officer misconducting themselves in public. It's very real in this country that we live in. But the sad part of it is our security agency being conducted in this way is very, very saddening. I mean, I'll be honest, very saddening to see that. And I'm very glad that there is an ownership of the incident and there is a response to it. The level of response might not be what maybe it might be entice us because of the agency they are part of it, and the assignment they were given on the national security level. So the appropriate way to get them being punished or being further investigated and dealt with probably is their parent, which is the parent agency that deployed them on that assignment, which is fine. But you see, Caleb's situation is very sad. I know there have been several views on it, but you don't, regardless, you see, I'm saying that two wrongs that cannot make it right.
But okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the Caleb situation, the City FM journalist. So he was not authorized in taking that video on the premise of the security zone, which was restricted zone. Okay, and two, he was not on an assignment from City FM even for that broadcast activity. So, and I thought that was based on
he was doing investigative journalism. He found these vehicles were there and they are getting rotten. These are vehicles that we bought for the state money. And they were sitting there, not distributed for years. He published a story about those vehicles, and somebody, reached out to him from National Security and said, "Hey, these vehicles has been distributed. Retract your story," which he did. He retracted the story and apologized. But the part of him, that investigative journalistic instinct of him, kind of compelled him to go back and check for himself, which is the right thing to do. All right. And he's doing it in the interest of all of us. We would want to know whether our money that has been spent in buying these vehicles has, and that the vehicles have been properly used. So he got there, did something as simple as take pictures of a vehicle. I mean, he shouldn't be beaten for that. He shouldn't be molested for that.
No. You see, so I think there's two things. Is the story, we are not disputing the story Caleb took. See, the process, I think that's where probably the miscommunication. This was on account of Bernard, the City FM guy. Okay, he was not on a formal assignment. He was on a security zone, which were not permitted for those videos. But for investigative purpose, we all want that to be exposed. It's okay, what has gone wrong? Someone have to be accountable to it. Someone have to respond to that investigation that was done. But here is the case, it took a different dive on that. And I think the treatment to the journalists was not uncalled for. Even the response to City FM premises was uncalled for. See, these are the things that we do not want to project. And my government is, and I think that's what there was.
So you're saying you are disappointed in your government. Is that what you're saying?
Disappointed of how national security conducted itself. See, very disappointed on that. The way the national security conducted itself when handling that incident. See, it should not create. See, we were in the middle of, and I know Dr. Lawrence fixed the country where you are getting the journalists to be able to see what Ghana. They say at that time Ghana is going through a lot. We have Galamsey and the military on the ground doing this. We have faced the country people also coming up. We have so much pieces was adding up, and here is the sudden we have a journalist being harassed on.
And the issue of journalists being harassed. This is like an ongoing issue from day one since this government came into power. Journalists after journalists, you saw the video I've played. We showed about 3 or 4 journalists who have been brutalized, beaten, some even killed. So it is a pattern. It's no longer a one-offs incidents where we say one journalist was molested by national security person here. It is becoming a pattern, and it is becoming indicative for this government. It's like this government is intolerant, and they will do everything to silence the people, and they are doing it by even killing journalists, and that is not.
That's a strong accusation. To say the government is killing people. That's very, very strong.
Yeah, a journalist has been killed, and we've had 7 years.
Why do you say that the government have killed a journalist? That is a strong allegation there.
Well, let me retract that. I'm not aware that the government is of killer journalists, but we have a government in charge, and that government is supposed to have supervisory authority over national security. And the members of national security who were caught on tape slapping members of parliament. There were national security people who have been fingered, abusing journalists. There has been a journalist killed under their watch. And until today, not a single person has been identified as the perpetrators of those. So what is this government doing? It has become a pattern. I mean, if this happened under Rawlings, we'd all be crying and saying he's a dictator. This is under
we don't want to compare
the human rights lawyers presidency.
What has happened in PNDC era, we don't want to compare in these days, which is we don't want to do that comparison. But right. I'm telling you, the government have no intention to harass any journalist or silence anyone in the country. Okay, there are other incidents that have occurred where, for us as a government, there are security agency, which somehow they can be a failure in one way or the other, and the response of our intelligence community is not helping. See, these are cases that have to be dealt with so that we don't repeat those patterns. If Ahmed Swali was killed, and up to today, it's very hard to close the case and say these are the perpetrators, these are the people we are standing on trial. And we cannot get it. Then it's like someone can say, okay, this can repeat itself, and we don't want that. That's why we trust in our security agencies, including the government is involved. The security agencies have to speed up on things.
Yeah, I think with all this in the government, we don't think the NDP government is a government that is likely to.
National security, and I know Ghana agenda with our political views and all that is very concerning. And for me, as an advocate for this government, it's very concerning where you have political perpetrators in our national security. And I know regardless, NDC camp, they do the same thing. They use the national security for their own political gain. I'm not saying that that's what is happening, but that is what reality is. Okay.
There's been so many vigilantes brought into the national security outfit, and this is also causing a lot of problems. But I'm sure
it's illegal. We have a law. We have a law that vigilante is illegal. Disband vigilante. So if any vigilante group exists, I'm telling them our laws are not working for us. And which is one of the challenges that we have as a nation, that we make laws, and how do we enforce the law? And the people who are enforcing the law, it's also making it very hard to enforce.
I mean, it's not that the national security is abusing people, and
they are known for that.
That is not the real root cause that we are actually concerned about. Is that there is a government in place, and the government seems to want to either cover up the things that are happening or seem to shield the people who are involved in this thing. And that just sends all the wrong signals. You cannot be saying you are fighting this menace. At the same time, you are shielding the people who are actually involved in these activities. Let me bring Doctor on. I know we are running out of time.
Last one. Let me land on this.
Land quickly, and then I'll bring Doctor.
I want the viewers to know that Akufo-Addo government is a government that we listen to Ghanaians. See, we have never shut any group down. See, face the country, we took their petition, we bring them on board. The government is a listening government. When things pop up, the government is on the ground. Especially,
you didn't have any choice. What would you have done? Would you have? I don't think the government had a choice in whether they actually take the petition of the Fix the Nation or not.
No. See, we have to be realistic. It has to be realistic. If it was Muhammad was in government, it was NDC in government. Something has to be fixed in Ghana, regardless. That's why we were voted for. So we have to do something. But when you put some ridiculous and unattainable fixed agenda, it makes it very hard to have a dialogue like, okay, this has to be fixed overnight. No, we are building a nation. And every day, with the Ghana in this country, we still build every day, regardless of the infrastructure, we're still building infrastructure. So we cannot go to sleep.
Let me bring Doc in quickly, and then I have one more issue that we can spend some 10 minutes on, but let me bring Doc in and hear what he has to say. Doc, are you still with us? I think, Doc, you're on mute and your audio is off. If you're still with us, I would like to take your views on this, but in the meantime, let me get a few messages out. Ibrahim, we can convince is gonna make demonstrations. Okay, now, all right. Ibrahim here says, is it possible the president was given an extra money to build a development bank or hire branches aside the $170? So, clarification needed. So, has the president received more than $170 million? And yes, so the president got $250 million from the World Bank, and then 170 million pounds from the European Investment Bank, and there are other facilities or loans that they've also undertaken from various institutions. So far together, we are aware that the government has accumulated $500 million. Remember, this whole development bank is part of the Obantampa program that the government is embarking on, and the tap for that program is going to be $100 billion. So let's keep that in mind. So Ibrahim again says that Mr. Jinapur says he needs $3 million to reclaim the lands by the Galamseyers, while we need money to buy COVID-19 vaccines. Can we stop politicizing everything in Ghana and think? Think. Okay, great. So, I was listening to Jinapur the other day. He had the Hilo, he had the helicopter, and went around and took pictures of some of the Galamsey grave sites, I call them, or pits, that has been dug all across the country by people who are illegally mining gold out of our land. But I was quite disappointed in some of the things he says too. And I'm going to play a video that shows some of that. Now, what he says, because he says things like he has not renewed any licenses so far, but a journalist was able to put to him that a license was renewed to one of the organizations in 2020. Even after he was confirmed as the minister, he says, it was done by the Land Commission. Even though the licenses expired, they were given a license to operate, which is different from a license itself, etc., etc. But there are things in that interview or that press statement or press release that I think we should all listen to, and there are still some holes in there that I think, or questions still left unanswered. Lifestone GA says, I wish I can join this discussion. Yes, so we are trying to integrate a format going forward where we would bring people on a call to contribute. So stand by, sir, and join us next week or so. We are bringing Steve Atuguba to talk to us about his exit from the NDC. Maybe you can join us then. We'll try to see if we can get a phone line for that conversation. Doctor, are you with us? Dr. Lawrence, if you are, we want to take your opinion on the insecurity issues. Doc? Can you hear me, Doc? All right. If Doc can hear me, let me play a quick video here from the Galamsey conversation or the Galamsey press statement. Here, we are going to focus on the Minister of Defense, Dominic. What is the name? Do you know the minister's name? Dominic Interior.
Tinau.
Okay, Tinau, right? Yeah, this is a fascinating minister. So let's listen to him, and then we'll talk about what he has to say. Doc, okay, Doc is back. Doc, so I want to take your quick view on the insecurity issues. I've played a video showing several journalists being abused by the national security, and it seems that there's always a cover-up of this type of stories, and the perpetrators have been shielded. What is your view on this? Do you trust this government to actually do anything about these abusers and these clear thugs in our national security outfits?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
We can hear you perfect.
Good. I don't know where Emmanuel was in 2017 when the MPP took over.
Right.
Because in 2017, that 1 year, their first year in office, that was when we saw this Delta forces beating COP Nanka Bruce in front of the Flaster House.
Right.
And nothing happened. These same Delta Force people went to a court, manhandled the judge, and released those people that were standing trial.
Right.
Nothing happened until they were asked to pay 1,800 cedis for them to be freed.
Right.
And then that same year, we saw these people going to the National Security Office and removing the regional coordinator that was appointed by Nana Akufo-Addo.
Right.
And in that year, when we talked about the insecurity in the country, the MPP were defending this government.
Right.
This is why I wanted to know where Emmanuel was in 2017 when they took power. I wanted to know if he also defended the government at that time.
Right.
Now, Emmanuel, if you defended the government at that time, you see how you are struggling to defend the government today. You see, we told you people so that this Nana Akufo-Addo government cannot protect Ghanaians. And when we were telling you this in 2017, some of you insulted us and told us we are naysayers. We didn't know what we were doing. Akufo-Addo is that. Akufo-Addo is a human rights guy. Akufo-Addo is a no-nonsense man. That was the defense you guys were giving us. Now you see how difficult you are. When the Ayawaso incident went on, and these professionals came out with their report, and the government put the report under the carpet, as if nothing has happened. You defended it.
Right.
When we were having elections and 8 people died, you were calling criminals. In fact, I heard I heard an MP, an MPP MP, calling the 8 people who were killed as criminals.
Right.
Recently, the regional coordinator for Ashanti has again been attacked because they are saying his term of office has ended. You see, we said it all. And then you come back to the question again that what has this government done right? Whatever. What in the 4.5 years of this administration, what have they done right? You tell me. You see, sometimes when we are talking about this Nana Akufo-Addo's government, and we are talking about how incompetent and how insensitive they are to the plight of the Ghanaian people, people don't understand.
Right.
Emmanuel, you see how you are struggling to defend your government? Do you see that when it came to talking about the defense of the people of Ghana, you see, you are almost detaching yourself from the government.
Right.
Do you see? I'm very sure that if you are asked to vote today on security between MPP and NDC, you vote for NDC. At least, if you will not vote for NDC, you will not vote for MPP. You will abstain.
Right.
You would abstain. And every government, every president swore an oath to protect the integrity of the citizens and the what do you call it? I've forgotten this word. Okay, let's use that. The sovereignty of the country.
Right.
And when Emmanuel, if I ask you to create Nana Akufo-Addo in protecting Ghana and the sovereignty, in protecting Ghanaians and the sovereignty of Ghana, I know you give him 1/10.
Right.
And if you ask me to grade Nana Akufo-Addo in defense of the Ghanaian people and the sovereignty of Ghana, I don't even know what grade I'm going to give him, because he has failed.
Right. All right.
And they started this in 2017, and we kept telling you, and you see, Alfred, like you said, it looks as if there is no government in the country when it comes to protection.
Right.
It looks as if
I know we are running out of time.
Nana Akufo-Addo doesn't have any minister of defense.
Right.
It looks as if Nana Akufo-Addo is not the commander-in-chief of the of the Ghana Armed Forces.
Right.
It looks as if Nana Akufo-Addo needs to be reminded that he's the president of the Republic of Ghana.
Right. So on that note, we know Nana Akufo-Addo needs to be reminded as president of Ghana. I know we're running out of time. So what I would do now is take your last words, and I know Emmanuel has to go. Let's take your last words. Let's start from Emmanuel, so you can leave us, and then also I will do that with Dr. Lawrence, and then we'll bring today's program to an end. I know we were going to talk about Galamsey as well, but due to time, we would take that to next week. I'm sure Emmanuel would have loved to respond to Dr. Lawrence, but we will, come back next week and discuss the rest of what we have here. But before you give us the last word, Thomas Asana says, Mr. Dako, I don't agree with you. The NPP government is I don't agree with you that the NPP government is a listening government. If they are listening, why are they still borrowing the brutality of journalists, the Galamsey activity still going on? Why are they not fixing the country, etc.? So that is from Thomas Asana, and that is a really great comment. Thomas, thanks for contributing to the show. Thomas also says, Dr. Atto, I salute. So that is greetings from Thomas to Dr. Atto, and our one and only Johnny Wood, who's also been supporting the show. We are grateful for him. He says, great discussion, and we appreciate you for joining us, Johnny Woods, and thanks for participating again. Share the links, let friends watch. Nanaya Asari Amposan say borrowing with intelligence. So he means that the current government has been borrowing with intelligence. So Emmanuel, give us your last words, and let's bring today's program to an end.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Alfred. I know there was one comment probably on Galamsey. And I thought when we have time to talk about Galamsey, I'm born and raised in Obuasi in the mining cities. I'm a mining guy that I'm very dear to my heart. And I know one of our viewers called Bayo also kind of asked my opinion on excavators. It's a frustration in the government. We seize them, they fly away or they vanish, and we didn't hold anybody accountable to it. So this time we will ban it. For me, I neither support or deny it.
There's no law.
For me, it's just one of the frustration as a government when we are dealing with Ghana. Period. Frustration to do with trying to do the right thing and it's not working for you. And when you have your presidency online and people are not doing what you expect them to do, then you attend to certain things that you might. And Ghanaians will talk. So regardless, so we have to do something to get rid of this activity. But I want to assure our viewers, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, did we have a plan? See, NDC people have criticized our government with no alternative proposal on what the government agenda is. And that's what I found very interesting. They will say yes, they will say it will never work. Even the new bank, they are very opponent against it, that it will not work, it will turn into something else, money for the boys. But what have they done, or what can they show of, like what is the alternative for Ghanaians? And that's where I'm very, very interested to know what the NDC alternative plan for Ghanaians, because 2024 it will be NDC MPP on the ballot. Tell us what you would have done as opposition leader. Tell the government these are the things, these are the alternatives.
But they say anytime they talk, the government copies it and goes with it.
When you Alfred, I believe in talking. I believe. You don't have to agree with me. I know some of our comments. You don't have to agree with me. Dr. Lawrence don't have to agree with me, but we still have to talk. We still have to dialogue so that we can come onto the common ground. What is best for Ghana? At the end of the day, what is best for Ghana. I can defend or not defend, but the bottom line is what is best for Ghana, because Ghana have to go forward. We have to do something. We have to invest in our resources. We have to put money in the economy. We have to ensure that people have a job. We have to ensure that the banks are giving money for a long-term facility, and that's the government. We are working. The government is working for the people. It might not be the best, and let us not deny ourselves. As a government, we are not the best. We don't have all the resources. We don't have all the intelligence to do the right thing. One way or the other, we will fall short. That's why we have to criticize. That's why the journalists have to come on board. Tell the government, this is what you are doing wrong. I don't support, and I believe that the government does not support any intimidating and harassing journalists. We don't support that. We want them to help us. For people to break the 8, after I'm telling you, we need everyone to criticize us, include the NDC people. They have to criticize us so that we get our act together, so that 2024 we get a seat back again, because we are going to do it, and we need their help. The more they criticize, the more we will fix the country. The country will be fixed, but it will not be overnight. We have to be reasonable on things that need to be done today, things that have to be done tomorrow, and things that have to be done the next day. So I thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Lawrence, I salute you. You are one of my daddies, so I will salute you. And we might share different opinions or different colors, but at the end of the day, we are all Ghanaians, and we want the Ghana best interest to go forward. And Alfred, thank you so much, and our listeners and our viewers, we appreciate the great work that you are doing. You can hear my baby crying, so kind of have some family commitment to come and do. So we salute everyone, and I look forward for the next discussion that we have.
All right, thank you so much, Emmanuel, and my greetings to the family. And tell them we appreciate them giving you the opportunity to join us. So you can now go back and take care of our little baby for us. Thanks again for all you do for this show and for Mother Ghana. We really appreciate that. So you've heard a lot from Emmanuel. What do you say in your closing?
Emmanuel was talking about NDC's alternative.
Right.
You see, there was a government of NDC in 2016.
Yeah.
And MPP said they were going to give us a better alternative. And Ghanaians listened to that statement they were making, and Ghanaians gave them the mandate. Now they came and they are doing worse than what we were doing in 2016. So if you are asking NDC for an alternative, you just have to go back. To what we were doing in 2016. You don't need any alternatives from us. It is when you are doing something good and the person is criticizing, that is when you ask for alternative. Now, Papa, what we are doing, we know is good, but you are criticizing. So what would you have done differently? But the thing you are doing in Crown is not good. Right. So why are you even asking for the alternative? Ask for the alternative, and the alternative is that Ghanaians should go back to the era of 2016 when NDC was in power.
Right.
But to sum up with what I've said so far, December 2024, Ghanaians are going to go back to the polls.
Right.
And I don't know whether I will be back on this show again or not. That's why I'm voting today.
No, why wouldn't you come back on the show? You are always invited.
Yeah, but I have to be officially invited.
Say it again?
This one, it was Paul Disoso who called me at 2:00 and told me he will be there at 2 and leave at 2:30. So I should come and continue from there. That is not an official invitation from there.
But you won't. I'll give you the official invitation next time. No problem. Thank you.
Then we can talk.
For sure.
Because even this topic that we are discussing, because I've been writing on them and because I've been demonstrating about them, that's why I have the ideas on my mind. And that's why I'm speaking to them.
Of course.
When Paul called me, I had not prepared any notes. I had not prepared anything.
Yeah, but I know anytime I call on you, Doc, that you are definitely ready to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So you see, when to sum up, when the MPP, I heard Emmanuel talking about breaking the 8.
Right.
What I would say is that if you like what this MPP government is doing, you vote for them and let them continue stealing the resources of the country.
Right.
But if you don't like it, like Emmanuel was struggling to defend his own government, when you don't like it, and they came to you, and they come in December 2024 and talk to you about something they would call breaking the 8,
Right.
you look straight into their faces and insult them. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope
Thank you.
Back again.
Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you so much, Dr. Lawrence. We really appreciate you joining us today and all your contributions to this show. You've made the show richer. And I also wanted to take the opportunity to thank Emmanuel. Emmanuel, it's not easy defending government in power. So we understand your struggles. And it's just, a lot of things happening currently are not helpful to any of our, MPP communicators who usually come on the show to defend the government. So we understand that. Also, it's just so much going on as a Ghanaian now that it's so much going on in Ghana now that we Ghanaians have to pay attention, especially with the issue of the development bank, where we already have tried this before. We've seen where we failed. Should we go back to the institutions that we've established and had learned all their lessons, failed, went into commercial? Should we go and unwind their commercial activities and bring them back into development bank? Is it possible for us to actually just capitalize them and have them keep both their commercial activities and also their development bank activities at the same time? It is something we've toyed with in the United States. Here before, there was a rule called Glass-Steagall, which actually separated investment bank from commercial banking. But we don't have Glass-Steagall in Ghana. Is it possible for us to have banks actually perform both functions, where they provide long-term lending to our small and medium-term enterprises, and at the same time take deposit from depositors and also extend, all engage in the treasury bills that they currently buy for to gain all the interest rate differentials and be profitable? Is it possible for us to do that? If it is possible for us to do that, is that something we need to think through and not necessarily form a new bank, which perhaps 10 years from now may succeed, or would just go back to same thing, where they would also have to survive, perhaps because there's no profitable or sustainable business lending to small businesses, and instead we rather take deposits. So it's a big dilemma that we find ourselves in, and we have to dig ourselves out of. The current government is proceeding on the tangent that we definitely need a new bank, and therefore they are going to go with the greenfield approach, start from scratch. And accusation is that this could be just money for the boys, money for the party. Election is coming in 2024. We need to kind of find ways to support our candidates and break the 8, as they are saying. So that is a valid acquisition that we also need to look into as citizens, pay attention, and make sure that, just like they said, we're gonna build 88 hospitals. We haven't seen any hospital yet. This is gonna be one of those things where they say we're gonna build a bank and start lending in 2000 and in July. Are we gonna really see that? They've already gone for the loans. They promised that they will use it for the purpose for which they've gotten it, as if, are there times that we went for loan that we did not use them for those purposes. So there is so many questions to ask, and we want to continue to ask those questions on this show. We also want to appeal to the government and to the national security people listening to us, or people who know people in the national security listening to us. Please, we just work hard to bring stories of happenings in our country to our people. Don't brutalize us. We are your brothers. We are your sisters. Governments change. You don't know where you will find yourself tomorrow. So please, let's create an environment in which to mature the little democracy we have, so that we continue to enjoy the peace that's we embarked on, or the peace trajectory that we embark on in this Fourth Republic dispensation. I'm going to end here and say thanks for watching. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We are on next Saturday at 2 p.m. In the meantime, tomorrow I'm going to be on Maka with Royal Black Jesus and Cutie Queen, and we'll be talking about whether, Christians should be paying tithes. I know it's out of my lane, but I also bring the political perspective. And some of the things we discuss here today, we'll be talking about those again tomorrow on that show. On Monday, me and Steve would have the Steve and Alfred show. And on that show, we'll be giving updates on COVID. We are bringing Dr. Ofori, who's the director of ACO Radio and a pharmacist by practice, very intelligent guy who will be helping us understand what are some of the guidance that the CDC released and the implications for those of us in the United States. Should we keep our masks on? Should we take them off? The CDC says take them off when you are outside. But what are the implications? What if somebody's not vaccinated and the person is around you? What do? We'll bring Dr. Ofori to give us some education and some insight as far as COVID is concerned and practices that we should adopt going forward. I would say thanks for watching. This has been the Gun Agenda for May 22nd, 2021. Again, my name is Alfred. See you later, and be safe. See you again next week. Thank you. Bye.